Hello and welcome to Zaragoza Carnanes. My name is Paula Zaragoza Carnanes, and today we're going to talk about gluten intolerance and celiac disease. What is this? This is that if you eat something of wheat and wheat byproduct, your body will self implode, meaning it will present a plethora of symptoms ranging from irritable bowel syndrome to arthritis, seizures, headaches, migraines, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, vomiting, rashes, itchy skin, fatigue, malabsorption of nutrients and vitamins, among other things like acid reflux, hair falling, and other mental health issues such as anxiety and depression, among other things. How do you detect this? Well, first, you will go to an allergist to get yourself the famous prick skin test. However, I do have to put a caveat. If one of your symptoms is not a skin reaction, it will come out negative because that happened to me. I do not react with rashes or itchy skin. I do react, however, with rosacea and psoriasis, which is a whole different inflammation reaction, but it's not a skin reaction enough to have that test come out positive. The second type of test is the test. And if your reactions are not shown through the blood, it will come out also negative. So it can present false negatives. The definitive test is an endoscopy and colonoscopy. They will discard out the other gastro autoimmune diseases such as IBS and Crohn's to narrow down that it is in fact celiac, intolerance, or sensitivity. The difference between the three is the intensity and the fact that sensitivity and allergy usually involve internal reactions, and celiac involves a plethora of reactions. It's very hard to diagnose because among people who suffer of this, it can range. For instance, in my case, it's of nasal and gastrointestinal, whereas with my mom it's just acid reflux, whereas with my dad it's just itchy skin, and with other people it might just be brain fog, and that's very different with nut and fish allergies, where it's quite uniform. Another issue was the fact that here in Puerto Rico, we have a really big problem with the medical field. They're at a chokehold with the insurance companies, and older doctors often ignore women. So there's a lot of patient racism and sexism in the field where women are often said, oh, that's all on your mind, or you just need to lose some weight in order for everything to go away. And when you combine those two things, it becomes an issue that you might be 10 years trying to solve this health problem, which was my case. I went to several doctors throughout a span of 10 years. I was presenting symptoms since I was 10. That's my best recollection. And it started as lactose intolerance. And throughout the years, it became worse. I thought it was premenstrual symptoms because these incessant sneezing and bloating and all the symptoms presented themselves the week before my menstrual cycle. But then it became worse as an everyday thing. And when it presented itself once a week, I thought that it was the place where I was studying, that it was kind of dusty and had asbestos, but that wasn't it. It was one of the factors, but that wasn't it because it became a daily thing. I was always sick with a t-shirt, using it for clearing my nose. I was always bloated, itchy, and with different symptoms. One day, my face was all puffy, and I couldn't quite figure out what was going on until I went to a naturopatha. It's a doctor who specializes in natural medicine, and she told me to eliminate wheat and wheat byproducts from the diet. I was open to listen because I was fed up with the other doctors, and it worked when I noticed that my sense of smell came back. It was completely gone. Then, with time, I started an elimination diet that wasn't enough. I went to California and decided to go vegan because many of the meats had gluten in them to be shiny and pretty. And then I got the colonoscopy and endoscopy, which confirmed that I was celiac. They gave me a plethora of treatments from vitamins, vaccines, and a more strict elimination diet, and that finally worked. Along with I tried a chiropractor and other things, and it got better. Throughout time, I don't present symptoms anymore. Maybe once in a while that my sense of smell is gone when I consume wine because of the sulfates and sulfites, but it's not as bad. Sometimes I do present IBS symptoms, but it is because of the fact that sometimes I may not have the best type of quality food. Given the context of Puerto Rico, 90% of the food is imported, but so it's not that fresh, and it's really hard to get fresh food. So that may worsen your symptoms. And when I started, there weren't many options out there. It was salads and basically turning normal food into gluten free food. Now that there's a ton of options, I have again tried croissants for the first time in 10 years, but the gluten free versions, and I'm quite happy. There's still some differences. For instance, the US doesn't have that many options, neither does Puerto Rico. Europe has a lot of options, and they taste like they're supposed to taste. In Puerto Rico and the US, not so much, but it's getting better, but it's very slow compared to Europe. Other things is that the food is really expensive. I live in a privileged situation where I can cover those costs, but if you can't, I do suggest turning to the criollo food culture of Puerto Rico. Basically, is what we eat on a daily basis, except for the fried stuff. It's your rice, beans, meats, and vegetables. That is gluten free. Oh, but do watch out for the beans. Some places do add wheat to make the sauce more thick, and when it's not supposed to happen, some people do add wheat to the meats for them to appear more shiny and more tasteful, and to the rices also they add beer. So there's other things to watch out for. Other things to watch out for are salad dressings and cereals where they sweeten them with wheat byproducts. Wheat can be hidden in non-obvious products like that, desserts, cookies, and that sort of thing. The more obvious ones are bread, pasta, and that stuff. I always read the ingredients. And back then, when I started, restaurants weren't as open and receptive as they are now. They are more conscientious of the gluten allergy and more accommodating, whereas back then they looked at me weird. And other things that really helped were that I had my mom. My mom really helped me out, and she, in fact, discovered that her acid reflux was due to gluten because she was that supportive. I, I'm lucky to have that, but not many people may have that luck. There's many people out there that will tell you, oh, it's all in your head, or you're just doing it to lose weight, or you're doing that because your family wants to control how you look or how much you weigh. You can still gain weight while being gluten free. That has happened to me. I go up and down in weight being still gluten free. And that's the really sad part about it, because it is still advertised as a diet and not a lifestyle. It is a lifestyle for me. My life depends on it. I don't do it to lose weight, and I've gotten a lot better. Obviously, environmental things do worsen the symptoms and conditions, but it's not that bad. I also do vaccines, and I do inject myself because it's more time efficient for me to do so. I do the vitamins and the elimination diet. And the vaccines, I get them from an immunologist. They're an expert in immune conditions such as mine, and that is a way better option than a simple allergist, in my opinion, because I had a better experience with an immunologist compared to an allergist. And basically, that is the gist of being allergic to gluten and being celiac. It is quite complicated, and it may be a long road for many people. It was in my case. But I really hope that this sheds light into how people experience it. I'm fortunate to have gotten better to a point where if I have some accidental exposure, not to have a reaction. But not many people have that chance. It's like if you're contaminated, you might end up in the hospital kind of situation. And it all depends on the access of food and medical treatment and good doctors and people who support you in order for you to get better. Yeah, so let me know in the comments what caught your attention. What did you like? What is so shocking to you about this whole thing? And yeah, I hope you enjoyed my 10-year plus journey into celiac. It's not something that I talk about much, but I did start my social media as a gluten free restaurant and travel reviewer. And I'm opened up the gates to saying if restaurants were receptive or not. I want to retake that, but it's a little bit hard for me at the moment because restaurants are not the same after COVID. Yeah, I'm finding it. I don't know if it's like my palate has been way too refined throughout time, or is it the fact that the restaurants have become mediocre because of COVID, or all of the above. I know that COVID is not like the factor that that may be to the detriment of restaurants. There may be other things going on, but it's really becoming hard for me to go out and find somewhere good to eat, because I've noticed that after COVID, basically, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if I got the point across. I know COVID was hard, and people are still recuperating, but these restaurants, I don't know what's going on. They're just like, here, have some food that I put no effort. And yeah. So yeah, basically leave comments below, and remember to subscribe. You can find me as Zaragoza Cardenales on all social media, and I'll see you next time.